If we lose the midterms, it'll be because we didn't talk about what moms and dads are worried about when they lie down to sleep at night and can't, and that's primarily the cost of living. Mm-hmm. And look, there are too many distractions. You know, I love the president like a taco.
Your guess is as good as ours about the meaning of this comparison from John Kennedy, but listen to what he says next.
Don't always agree with him, but I think he wants a better world. But I don't agree with him about this new holy war with the Pope. I have great respect for Catholicism, and even if I didn't, the Pope is entitled to his opinion. Why do we want to have a fight with the Pope? It's a distraction, and the press just sucks it up like a Hoover Deluxe. And we've done a pretty good job of dealing with inflation. We're not talking about the one big beautiful bill and the money we're saving through less regulation, because we're busy fighting with the Pope.
Kennedy, a MAGA stooge to his core, has joined the ever-growing list of conservatives alongside Catholic churches across the country and even in Trump's own neighborhood, who want dear leader to back off his criticisms of Pope Leo.
I don't think it helps the president at all. I think it's colossally stupid. And I say that as a Catholic and as a person who voted for Trump. But I think that it's just not the battle to pick. I think it's just an uncomfortable moment. And, I think there's better ways to address dialogue. And, I would rather see him try to come to some accord with the Holy Father and with the church's position. I do think that things needed to be done in Iran.
What would you like to see him do?
Back off and kind of calm down his little bitty tiny big streak of a little meanness here.
Now, here's what I find most interesting about those voters. Even the ones defending Trump on Iran can't defend his tone toward the Pope. That's the tell. When your own base is saying, I support the mission, but I don't support the meanness, you've lost the plot. Because what Trump is doing isn't just bad politics. It is the most perfect encapsulation of MAGA that exists right now. Think about it. The whole MAGA identity is built on the idea that Trump is a tough-talking truth teller who fights for the forgotten. But what happens when the person he's fighting is a pope who grew up on the south side of Chicago, who spent decades serving the poor in Peru, who's preaching the most basic message of every faith on earth, peace? You can't fake news the Pope. You can't bully him. You can't threaten to revoke his broadcast license. And that's what's driving Trump insane. Pope Leo is the one person on the planet who has more moral authority, more global reach, bigger megaphone than Donald Trump. And he doesn't need a single vote from anybody. This is what happens when MAGA runs into someone it can't cancel. And let me tell you how close to home this is getting. The Bishop of Palm Beach, Bishop Manuel de Jesus Rodriguez, the man who oversees the diocese that includes Mar-a-Lago, stood up during Sunday Mass this past weekend and delivered a message to every single parish in his diocese, projected on the screen for the entire congregation. The diocese stands firm with the Holy Father and strongly rejects the disrespectful and violent attacks that Donald J. Trump has directed against the Holy Father. He said Trump's attacks constitute a grave violation of religious freedom enshrined in the Constitution. And he closed by asking Catholics to pray for the Pope's safety, 13 miles from Mar-a-Lago, appointed by Pope Leo himself, asking people to pray that Pope will be safe from President of the United States. And even Kennedy said it on Fox. Why do we want to have a fight with the Pope? It's a distraction. That is a sitting Republican senator telling Trump, knock it off.
I had a very fine meeting with a group of imams in Cameroon to continue to promote, as we've done in other places already, and as Pope Francis has done during his pontificate, the dialogue, promotion of fraternity through understanding, acceptance, peace building with people of all faiths. At the same time, there's been a certain narrative that has not been accurate in all of its aspects, but because of the political situation created when on the first day of the trip, the President of the United States made some comments about myself. Much of what has been written since then has been more commentary on commentary, trying to interpret what has been said. Just one little example, the talk that I gave at the prayer meeting for peace, a couple of days ago. It was prepared 2 weeks ago, well before the president ever commented on myself and on the message of peace that I am promoting. And yet, as it happens, it was looked at as if I was trying to debate again the president, which is not my interest at all. The texts of the gospel we've been using through the liturgies give a number of different fantastic, beautiful aspects of what it's about to be Christian, of what it's about to follow Christ, of what it's about to promote fraternity and brotherhood, trusting in the Lord, but also looking for ways to promote justice in our world, promote peace in our world.
And this is the part that should make everyone stop and pay attention. Pope Leo went out of his way on the papal plane to clarify that his speeches in Africa about peace, about rejecting the masters of war, about the tyrants spending billions on killing were prepared 2 weeks before Trump ever attacked him. He said there's been a certain narrative about his trip that hasn't been accurate. He told reporters it's not in his interest to debate Trump. He said his trip was about dialogue, fraternity, peace building with people of all faiths. So let me spell out what this means. Pope Leo was not responding to Trump. He was preaching the gospel. He was doing his job, which means Trump attacked a man for saying, "Blessed are the peacemakers," and then attacked him again when he clarified that he wasn't even talking about Trump. The Pope says, "I'm preaching peace for the world," and Trump hears, "I'm coming for you personally." That's not a political disagreement. That is a man so consumed by his own ego that he cannot hear the word peace without treating it as a personal attack. And that actually makes Trump's attacks even more unhinged and unwarranted than they already were, because there was nothing to respond to. There was no provocation. There was a Pope on a pastoral trip to Africa talking about peace. Trump made it about himself every single time.
I'm not trying to pick on the Catholic Church here, but this is a fight that he's picking. And if he's going to have this selective moral outrage that he's feigning and seemingly enjoying this public fight with Donald Trump, I think it's time that he starts to get questioned. Donald Trump takes questions all the time. Nobody gets to ask the Pope a single thing. And I think it's time, and I would like to offer myself as the person to go interview the Pope. I think I'm uniquely qualified.
And then there's Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity, a man with no college degree, went on national TV and told the head of the Catholic Church that he's wrong about the Bible. Hannity said he went to Catholic school for 12 years and studied Latin, as if that qualifies him to correct a pope who holds a doctorate in canon law from the Pontifical University of St. Thomas Aquinas. A pope with a master's of divinity, a pope who led an entire religious order before leading the entire church. But sure, Sean, 12 years of Catholic school, that's the same thing. And this is not an isolated moment. This is the whole machine. Vance, a Catholic convert, telling the Pope to stay in his lane. Trump posting AI images of himself as Jesus Christ, deleting them when the backlash hits. A movement that wraps itself in the cross of Sunday, uses it as a weapon on Monday. And here's what I need you to sit with about Trump's mental state. A man who is stable does not pick a public fight with the Pope and then claim the Pope started it. A man who is well does not post pictures of himself as Jesus. A man who is well does not hear a message of peace and interpret it as a declaration of war against him personally. This behavior is escalating. Every week it's more erratic, more grandiose, more disconnected from reality. And this is the man making decisions about war and peace for 330 million Americans. He's isolating us from our oldest allies. He's alienating the largest Christian denomination on earth. He's burning every bridge with anyone who won't kiss the ring. And the people around him, the Hannitys, the Vances, instead of pulling him back, they're egging him on. That is not leadership. That is a man in decline, surrounded by people too afraid or too opportunistic to tell him the truth. And all of us, every single one of us, are paying the price.